education for global citizenship. There's several schools doing. I have a school in Beijing, several schools in Michigan, which is a Mandarin immersion program, which I actually call it bilingual, bicultural, and dual pedagogy program. If you look at my Mandarin, we start from actually pre-K. Most of our kids actually are non-Chinese, because in Michigan you don't have many Chinese. When that left, the Asian population dropped, it's a lot. So you don't have a lot of them. They have a lot, most of them are non-native. What we do is that we try to, in our school, we emphasize the culture and pedagogy. So we actually bring people from China, want them to be authentic samples of the Chinese culture, the teachers. We want the children on a daily basis to move across different classrooms. We actually set up aside an Asian classroom, which I call the teacher knowledge-centered classroom. We have the Western classroom, which is for child-centered classroom. So two different curriculum, I call it dual pedagogy part of it. And our school in Beijing we start with 4 kids in Beijing. I got over 180 some kids that are non-witnessed. We have schools, 5 schools now in Michigan. So the model I want to build is really on the verge on the culture part of it. I actually think language is easier than culture. It's another thing I'm building now in the University of Oregon. I'm building a virtual laboratory school. One of my slogan is that if you want to learn any language, you should be able to do so on my website. Anybody, you're from any school. If you want to learn Zulu, I'm going to find a Zulu tutor for you. I can find I can even make some money off you. I can be from Africa. I have friends there. If you pay me like $300 per course per semester, I can make $150 in profit. Because $150 is worth a lot in Africa. Do you see what I mean? We should be able to do that. No school, high school, or any school that you should say, sorry, I can't offer that to you. If I learn Mongolia, I can do that. Uzbek, I can do that. I can do any of those things. The other part of my virtual school is I want to get kids involved in this global entrepreneurship concept. I want them to form design teams to design things that other people need. For example, one of the projects that I'm going to launch is America, or any kids actually speak English, make English textbooks or movies, materials for Chinese kids or Japanese kids. Go shoot some movies, make a sitcom, for some kids in Taiwan who want to learn this thing, and make some money off that. And we can have the Chinese writing Chinese textbooks and vice versa. Imagine what the difference, take advantage of difference, learn how to spot opportunities, and use your strength, your uniqueness. So what I would like to do is that I'm probably going to end here and summarize and take some questions. Is that what we need as American education, as Culver City, you guys are doing great, number 1. Number 2, in the 21st century, globalization forces us to think differently. That our market is huge. In the 19th century or 20th century, we need a lot of people of the same skills, same knowledge, but they don't have to be great. They're just mediocre to be fine. Just because you all get work on for Ford. You don't have to be great. The 21st century, we've expanded our market. We need to identify unique talents, unique abilities, things you have that others don't have. Because you have exactly the same thing as the Chinese, as the Indians, the Russians, or Brazilians. They cost 5 to 7 times less. If they can do the same thing for that less money, they're going to take the job. You have to do something different. We need to identify what that something different is. So that's number 1. Have something unique and be great, be good at it. Number 2, you have to be able to think about creating jobs, not find jobs. There's actually a lot of entrepreneurs saying that I'm going to give $100,000, don't go to college, go start your own business. There's a movement called Burn Your Resume movement. There's no jobs for Generation Ys. You have to create them. And you can't do that. You can only do that when you have ideas, when you can spot what people need globally. So global competence has to include that. And finally, you have to think about global competence is much more than language. It involves culture, involves understanding of global problems, global economics, global systems. All of this I would encourage you as school. When you offer bilingual, don't think it's only international. It has to be multilateral and global. Students have to be involved in all of those interactions. Language, I know you're proud, is not enough. You have, especially 2 languages, you have to be dealing with many different cultures and develop truly a sense of what we call CQ, cultural intelligence, like IQ, like EQ. It's called CQ. Okay, thank you. They're very scared now. Yes, please.
You talk about, I agree with you. I really enjoy your talk very much. You talk about this tolerance in the United States, and the culture, and the new immigrants, and so on. But that doesn't jive well with this kind of closeness that U.S. has when it comes to global education and the cultural awareness and things like that. You know, what's not jiving here?
Well, I think it's the same. U.S. as a social framework is more tolerant than most other places. As a social framework, it's within the society itself. You know, you can say the Chinese and Asian and the Indian may not get along necessarily. You still see the segregated pockets, but overall, if you look at our employment rules, legal laws, they allow you to work together all over there. Through all these years, you can see the community is much more diverse in that way. But America has been very isolated from globally. That's a different story. The domestic tolerance, if we have racial problems, if you go to many other countries, the racial problem is much worse in many ways. So we learn how to handle that way. And you know, we struggle through this process, you know, over these years. But however, globally, America has a very internal look at itself, because it was so big as a market. For a long time, the US did not have to rely on anybody. By the time this emerged, it has always been a big policy can call the shots. So they never had the need. Even today, a lot of Americans will say, everybody's learning English. I don't need to speak this, you know. I can go there, they will be find me translated. Well, that's still they're thinking this way. They still think we have something others want so much that we will do this. So I think it's what I'm talking about. America needs to learn to not be a great impact. We need to accept the status we're just one country on the global supply chain. Britain has done that. They have taken, it's hard time to learn this thing, to say, we're not the Goliath. You know, we have to be doing something, we're smart. We are part of this global. That's why I actually try to move away from international. I want to use the term global. International, we want to talk about between nations. It's not really between one. For example, the US after 9/11, try to close its doors. We forced a lot of more international students to Australia, to Canada, to England, to New Zealand. You know, after 9/11, international students from New Zealand became the 5th largest education and export sector. It's mostly, you know, 1/5 actually of their income, GDP came from international students. Australia, international students, the fees they take is that they call it like export, ranks the 3rd. Just behind the export of coal and iron ores, Australia. The 3rd most, because we just drove away. Now suddenly we realize we can't do that anymore. We're opening up to this market. That's the all kind of things. I think we need to learn this thing, because America has to become too great, too good, we don't need anybody. Now we finally realize we need somebody. That's different. But internally the US has struggled through a lot more tolerance issues. Other comments? Yes, please.
I loved your talk too. There's something that, again, I like the way you said jive. You're arguing that we're among the most tolerant societies, right? But then we're mostly monolingual, and we are against multilingualism as a country, unfortunately. How do you put those two together?
Actually, there are many monolingual cultures. Many. Actually, if you look at most large countries, actually, in many ways are monolingual. I mean, India is an exception. If you look at China, if you look at a lot of European countries, the European countries, the bilingual countries are actually smaller countries. If you go to Netherlands actually was surprising. I was there. They were against bilingual immersion programs. It's very hard for them to become bilingual, but they have to accept Dutch is practically useless outside the country, so they have learned that. But they actually don't like it. It's a struggle. They ask you to convince them to do more bilingual school.